Okay, so this will be the final installment of this house tour. But, I apologize for not being a little bit more visible in this process, but as you can see, I have been doing some things from time to time, and there's some exterior things that we didn't even talk about because it's already dark outside now. But, with a whole new job and all kinds of other things happening in my life and in my wife's life, it's kind of a crazy thing to try to get all this stuff lined up and keep you all informed, but hopefully those of you that follow this have found it entertaining. But as I mentioned before and a couple other things, especially my construction video with Dr. Pepper, the one where I talked about how do you know how to do all this. I think that the trades, any kind of job where you actually have to work, like physical work, not I sit in front of a computer and type all day work. Because let's be honest, it's a different definition. But people that really work for a living, they just have a different perspective on life. Today, I met a very nice man who I've never met before, who works for the drywall company who's going to be coming here to do this work. And we had just a delightful conversation about his process. And I came here with my school clothes on, and I think he was maybe at first a little reluctant to sort of get my thoughts on the project because, what would a guy in dress slacks and a tucked-in polo shirt and a nice looking belt, if I do say so myself, what would a guy like that know about construction? But, it was interesting as we got to talking. People who work with their hands for a living, people who have skills, people who aren't afraid to actually labor, they just have a different way of looking at things. And we had such a wonderful chat about his house, which apparently had a lot of the same problems. He said, yeah, I bought an old farmhouse, and it was kind of a converted story and a half, and it had this and this and this, and some of the floor joists were cut all the way through. And I said, oh, well, here, I can show you where all those same things happened here. It's interesting, sort of the appreciation that people that really work for a living have for other people that really work for a living. As a person who works in a career that really revolves around higher education and education in general, sometimes I feel like the educated, if you will, sort of look down their noses at people that actually labor to make their money. And yet, it seems like those people have such a better grasp of what's important, and they're happier people. So that being said, I wouldn't encourage everybody in the world to go out and go into this, because I will be the first to admit that this has been a lot more than maybe I was ready to handle quite a few times. But, I will say that after doing this project, I'm more confident than ever that there's very little in this world that I can't do if I really want to do it. And I think that that's the feeling that people that really aren't afraid to work, that's how they feel. Imagine how great that would feel. It's a great thing. Because I know a lot of people who make a lot of money and do a lot of really impressive things that really, in a lot of respects, are sort of helpless. So that being said, if you're a person who doesn't labor, I hope that you are willing to consider taking on some challenges that are going to push you. Not just mentally, but physically as well. I mean, this is exhausting work sometimes, and sometimes you're tired, and sometimes you don't feel well. But there are things that still have to be done. And I can tell you that I have a newfound appreciation for a lot of things in my own life, especially in my own time, than I had before this whole thing started. And despite all the challenges, I think it's for the better. So, with that being said, I'd encourage everybody to go out there and find your own project, whatever it is. Because, having a skill and not being afraid to work, I think those are the things that I hate. Oh boy, I really sort of hate to say this. There's a gentleman who talks, as of late, about making America great again. This has nothing to do with him. But those things, the ability to work and to think and to toil and to put in the time, those were the things that did make America great. And I think America's still great. But I think if there are a few more people out there willing to do that, it could be greater yet. So I guess with that being said, I'm not changing the world, but I think I'm doing my part to make my community and my country a better place by being willing to take something that nobody else could see the beauty in and put my time into trying to make it that way. So hopefully you won't be afraid to try the same thing. And if there's anything I can do to help you, don't be afraid to ask. See you later.